Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to create some matching envelopes to these cards that I'm going to be mailing out for some happy mail, just for some of my friends over on Instagram. If you're interested in these, please go ahead over to my Instagram account and follow me, and you'll see when I announce that I'm ready to mail them out. It's a pretty simple process to go through to get one. It's just first come, first serve. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just cutting down a mask for each card, and I need to make 5 envelopes. So I'm using 5 sticky notepads. For this particular technique, it's going to work just fine, but I can't reuse the same notepad with each for every card. I have to have a new little sticky pad for each of them. So I just cut it down into that shape, and I want to create my cards, my envelopes to match. So I'm going to be using the cards as my inspiration, kind of eyeing them as I do this. And I'm using the new Simon Hurley Lunar Paste for this because that's what I created the cards with. And so for this first one, I'm going to go ahead and create that rainbow effect. And I'm using clear skies here, and then I'm just going to work my way down. And once I get everything blended in, I go back over and blended it one more time just to get those spots so that they're not so harsh. Mist it with a little water, let it dry, and that is what I'm left with. I'm inking the edges of all of my cards. I just like how it finishes it off, makes it look a little bit more something something. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay down that mask that I created. I just pulled it off of the little pile. And this is going to be where I include the Lunar Paste, which is a new product that Simon Hurley has out. If you didn't catch my other video when I was making these, go ahead and catch it because I show you a couple different ways that you can actually use this paste. It's not just for running through stencil and smearing. And I mentioned a way that you could use it, but I didn't show you in the last video. Well, I'm going to show you that technique today on one of these cards. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. This paste I really like. It's metallic. Obviously it matches his line well. I love his line because it's super bright and colorful, which is the type of artist that I am. And it's spot on with the colors, and you'll see it again when I lay the colors out on this envelope. But there's a couple different ways you can use it. You can use it on stencils as a typical paste. You can paint with it. You can mist with it. You can splat with it. You're going to notice that for this video, I don't use it with your typical palette knife. When I do go ahead and use it as a paste, I use it with a sponge. And what that does is it just flattens it out. I think it's nicer to go through the mail. But you know what? I'm getting totally ahead of myself right now. We're not there yet. So right now I'm just going around and making sure that I have a place where I can put that address, and it just really, really pops. And then from here, I'm going to take out the Lunar Paste, and I'm just going to start to smear it. And as I smear it, I notice that it's a little bit too sloppy looking. I want it to blend a little bit more. So you'll see the tool that I use to help me do that. I was done with this. I thought, oh, that's cute, that matches. And then I decided after I took this picture that I wasn't done with this. I went back in and added some more doodling, and I just like this so much better. For card number 2, I'm going to go in and just start off by inking the envelope up. And what I'm doing is I'm using the lighter color in the center where I'm going to end up putting that mask. That'll just make it so that the address block is stands out, but it's not so dark. And then I'm going to add some water to this, mist it down, and get it to move a little. Once again, I'm adding on that masking technique, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually show you about that technique that I talked about in the last video, in which you can create your own mist with the Lunar Paste. So you're just going to fill up a little water bottle with water, and then you're going to just scrape your Lunar Paste right in there. And depending on how much you use will depend on the vibrancy of it. If you want more color, then use less water. If you want less color, then use more water. And you just really shake that up. And so I'm going to use the bee sting, one that I created right here, on a portion of that. And then I also made up another one off screen, which is the clear skies, and I just squirted that on as well. Instead of using a palette knife like I did in the other video, I'm going to use a sponge. And what the sponge does is it just allows it to be a little bit more pliable, and it still will give a really nice crisp image that I love. I did ink this up first, as you saw, and what's going to happen is when I pull that stencil off, you're obviously going to be able to see that color right through, and it's going to be a very nice contrast. So I'm making sure that I'm not layering the same color over the ink, since they are all the same color, just in the paste or in the ink, right? So I'm layering on different colors so that it really stands out and pops. This is a rather impromptu envelope. I wasn't planning on doing this technique, but I had such lovely color left on the stencil that I'm like, I wonder what will happen if I press it into the the envelope, and then I go over it with the colors that I wanted to use. So the stencil, the paste that's left on the stencil, is the cool tones, and so I'm contrasting it with these warm tones, which is traffic cone and bee sting. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here, and when I lift it up, you're going to see how this turned out. It did not turn out the way I anticipated, and then I'm also just adding some of the mist that I created because it was right there, and like, why not, right? So I'm just going to peel this up, and not much of it transferred over, but it was easy to clean off of the stencil. So these are the 2 cards that I created with that one stencil. I'm really happy with how they turned out, and I think that they match just beautifully. I was going to use the other stencil that I'd used in the other video to create that card on that, but it works. The colors are quite lovely. For this last card, I'm going to use it as paint like I did on the card that I'm using as my muse, or what I'm using to match it. And I'm just spraying in a little bit of water, and it just creates a gorgeous shimmering type wash that I really love. I'm just working my way down on the card to create that rainbow effect, and then I'm going to finish it off with the splatters. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I certainly hope that you will consider subscribing. If you enjoy learning new craft techniques like this, I am just a crafter, and my whole goal is not only to show you guys how to use something maybe in a way you didn't think of, but also to let you know that if I can do it, you can do it, because clearly I am not perfect. And it really is easy with everything that I'm doing. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so it notifies YouTube that you want to be you want to be aware of when a new video comes out. The algorithm really likes that. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure that you leave them down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I love reading them. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. That also helps me out quite a bit. And then if you're a part of any groups in social media that would enjoy this video, please share it. And that is how that final one ended up. I love it. Love it. I just used a marker to outline and then just a white paint over pen to add the dots. And I think it is so very cute and it matches great. So those are my envelopes that I created today with you. I can't wait to mail them out to my friends. Certainly hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, I'm Betsy Golden. Happy crafting.